Welcome to Urbane Legends, the podcast about urban legends and how to act in a courteous and refined manner, but much less about that. Here's your hosts, Neil and Chris. Hello and welcome to Urbane Legends, podcast about urban legends and sadly still slightly about etiquette, although that's running its course. I am, of course, one of your hosts, Chris Flynn, and I was raised by the ancient order of the deep sea nuns, who have for centuries bringing salvation to the seabed. And with me today is grumpy hat maker
Neil Herbert.
Hi, Neil. How's your hat
I
business?
prefer Grumpy Milliner, by the way.
Pardon?
Respect. I prefer Grumpy Milliner.
Milliner,
Respect.
is that what it's called?
Yeah.
What kind of hats you working on at the moment? Are they for anyone in particular, or just to adorn your shop? Say shop,
I'm working
stall.
on the world's tiniest hat. It's 8 atoms. 8 atoms. Just to show that I can, really.
Oh, that sounds good. So you can only see that under a microscope, a very powerful one.
Scanning electron microscope to...
Did you want to tell the listeners some of the famous people that you've made hats for? I know that Prince, you made his
Prince,
purple top hat.
His final hat.
His final hat.
Yeah.
Was it the Mercury hat that made him go mad?
Well, you tell me. What the customer asks for, the customer gets.
Oh, excellent customer service, sir. No wonder your business is doing well. Who else?
Gold. There is. I think I was going to go for Princess Diana, but no, that's would have been a few too many years ago.
Jeff Capes. Did you make his hats?
Yeah. He had a Tam O'Shanter.
Really massive Tam O'Shanter.
Yeah, really massive Tam O'Shanter. Yeah, we had to...
Which could double up if you turned it over as a kayak.
Yeah, it could be a coracle or a tent or,
Very nice.
Stiff in it, you could make a boat out of it, but otherwise, yeah, most people could sleep in it, but it just,
Jamie Theakston, I hear you make his hats for him.
Yeah, he likes one of those ones with the little straps.
Yeah. So it doesn't fall off.
Peruvian ones with the little tassels.
Oh, nice. So like warming your ears kind of thing.
Yeah.
I heard that you...
Jason Statham, he obviously likes to have a nice bowler hat, keep his head warm.
Made out of leather and steel.
Yeah. A lot of rivets put into that. And we obviously put a razor under the rim in case he wants to do an odd job.
Right, very good. He is. He's a very tough synchronized diver. That guy, isn't he? And I heard recently that you've been working with Peter Andre on a collection of hats for millets. Is that true? Outdoor hats.
I'm not at liberty to discuss.
Oh, has he made you sign a non-disclosure?
I can't. But I'll let.
Can you tell us anything about the range? So outdoorsy, I'd imagine, if it's millets.
It's the Mysterious Girl range, obviously.
not
mostly,
not the
hats.
Not the Insania range. That comes later.
Yeah, we're going back to the originals, or the original 90s origins of Mr. Andre.
So it's going to have kind of a tropical 90s feel,
a bit of
mixed
fun,
with
breezy marine vibe to it.
Mixed with camping.
Yeah,
that sounds lovely, Neil.
And
abs, which you bring to the show because he hasn't got them anymore, has he? And you've got an 8-pack, I believe.
Yeah, 8-pack or something.
Yeah. So etiquette, Neil. This week we're going across the pond. To the United States of America, which is, we are two countries, of course, separated by a common language.
Oh, Judge Cornish, or you rogue.
Oh. Right. So, this is from EnglishClass101.com. So, here's sightseeing. Neil, if you're in America, you want to go and see some sights, don't you?
Of course you do. That's what I bought my camera out for.
Yep.
That's why I went on holiday.
Your sketchbook.
Yep.
Your selfie stick.
Selfie stick, all there, yeah.
So sightseeing. So the way this is laid out is you've got do and then don't. So I'll tell you what to do.
Well, that's handy.
And then what not to do.
Things I shouldn't do. Yeah, that's handy.
So do, you should pay what is expected of you. Not haggle.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
fair enough.
Many sightseeing areas in the United States require that you pay a certain amount to enter. Where are these people coming from? Who's this aimed at?
I can, to be honest with you, I can imagine. It's like, you've seen some of the shenanigans. I don't know if you've seen any of these town halls they have in America.
Yeah.
Some of the absolute swamp people with infestors. Like, there's this one recently. I think
this is for foreign
about
people.
Mask mandates. Oh, this is like if you come to America. Yeah, well, who knows? I guess, yeah. Maybe some people do come and try and haggle.
They like haggling in a lot of the world, don't they? I hate it.
No, I can't be bothered. It's just...
just tell me how much it is, then I'll decide if I want it or not.
Exactly, yeah.
So this is especially true of national parks, museums, and even small-scale parks and trails. If there is no one actively working to receive your payment, you may be tempted just to not pay. Right, this is where it's coming. So it's an honour system. And if you're not American, you don't know the first damn thing about honour. But this is poor practice. Not only is it rude, but you may have your car towed and be expected to pay a fine if you're caught, which will cost way more than the entrance fee. Paying the fee is definitely the best way to go.
You know, yeah, I think it's
best luck,
right
actually.
Anyway. Fair enough.
Yeah. So what you shouldn't do, don't, Neil.
Right.
You shouldn't.
So do pay for the museum you're entering. Fair enough. That's fairly obvious, I would have thought. But
You've written that down?
Yeah.
Good. You shouldn't wander off any place that is labelled off limits or disobey postings, signs, or warnings. Often places you're not allowed to wander to will be indicated with a sign saying prohibited.
Hang on a minute, I've just paid.
Oh, we're a fucking light, mate.
I own it now, basically. I rented it for the afternoon.
You will get in trouble, possibly with the law, if you don't heed these signs. This is called trespassing. And something that Americans despise. You trespassing, boy! What you doing trespassing?
The land of the free, they've got a lot of rules, haven't they?
Other common signs you should watch are no walking on the grass, keep off whatever, me, don't touch, me, and don't feed, me. So there we go. That's some tips for you there.
The don't feed is good advice because the amount of people who go out and feed pigeons and things, I can't get that. So it's going to shit everywhere. Dude. I don't know things covered in shit.
Why not? What are you so scared of, Freud? I like pigeons.
Whatever.
I think pigeons. Yeah, I think pigeons are lovely. I get annoyed when people complain about seagulls because at the end of the day, we live on their lands. Like, this is their natural habitat just because we've decided to plonk a fucking town here.
I haven't got a problem with nature. I don't need to encourage them. No, I just don't need to encourage them.
I don't need to encourage nature.
Pigeons aren't going short of a bit of food, are they? They need to be feeding anyway.
I've got a lovely picture, like most people from the south have who were born in the 80s, of me with loads of pigeons on me in Trafalgar Square. It's a lovely picture. That was a very exciting experience. And now, because of Boris's Britain and people like you backing up the Tory government, we can't have pictures of kids having fun with pigeons anymore. This country is sterile. It's a sterile mess. No wonder, like, the fucking COVID got everywhere. It's because none of us have got any resistance to viruses anymore because we're not kicking around with pigeons enough.
I mean, I do live in a bubble.
Well, literally a bubble. The film Bubble Boy was about you, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So, Neil, here's some do's and don'ts for greeting people in America. So don't. This is starting with a don't. And I don't. This is good for me because, as you know, I am very, very tactile.
Yeah.
Well, you're all right. You're in a bubble, so you claim. You shouldn't hug and kiss someone the first time you meet them. While it's commonplace in many countries, people in the United States tend to shrug away from physical contact on first meeting. It's usually best to offer a handshake instead if it seems appropriate. Also, be sure not to crowd in too close when meeting someone. Most Americans really want their space. In short, keep hugging, kissing, and closeness to friends or family members.
Seems reasonable to me. I mean, you do have the whole thing, like, I remember when I lived in France, you did a sort of like kiss on the cheek thing. But still, what's weird actually as well, in France, every time you go to work, you'd meet people, you'd shake their hand again like you're meeting them for the first time.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Should have just done fist bumps. What's up, man? So here's a do. It's not all doom and gloom. Here's a do. That said, you should smile and give your name. Many Americans are drawn to people with a cheery disposition. God, so weird. And of course, they would love to know your name. This is considered pretty standard form of greeting, without a handshake, depending on the situation. Hi, I'm Chris. How's that? Hi, I'm Chris.
Awful. Hated it. But if I was Californian, I'd probably be all over that.
So here's a don't, because there's a couple on this one, and then another do, and then we're done. I don't want to overload you with information.
No, we're getting close to that already.
If you end up chatting with someone you've just met, you shouldn't bring up personal details unless the other person brings up the topic. Many Americans get uncomfortable when people start giving them details about their lives. Oh, I've got cerebral piles. Further, it's sometimes considered rude or unbecoming to ask details about their lives. How are your piles? I assume you've got them, judging by your face. Especially if it's the first time meeting. Keep the conversation simple and light until the other person is ready to break the ice. But if you're both waiting, then Mexican standoff, ice breaking. Then begin talking about personal details. It just sounds like it's a lot of smiling, saying your name, and then small talk, which sounds shit.
I mean, to be honest with you, it's kind of like, I think if you just, it depends on what we're talking about here, what the social scenario is. Because, if you're just meeting somebody,
if you're going bowling.
Yeah. And also, what do we mean by personal? I mean, it's kind of like, you wouldn't suddenly start getting into your third divorce or whatever.
No, I've had a drink.
Chat. Yeah, that's the thing is, is it night down the pub? They
don't really have nights down the pub, do they, in the way that we do?
Well, no. Well, like down the bar. I don't know. Cheers.
Yeah, that wasn't real.
Norman like telling them your troubles. No. I believe there is a bar.
Yeah, the outside of the bar. I think but they don't really have pub culture in the same way. I don't think.
Not as
unless
much,
you're in a
no.
biker gang or you work in the docks or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's not. Say
oh,
in this country. No, I don't think.
They
got bars.
Yeah, there's bars, but I don't know. I'm saying that having not been to America, but I don't think they have the similar pub culture, because people say going to America it's weird because if people say, do you want to go for a beer, they literally mean one beer and then they go home, and that's kind of the subtext with that in British is get pissed together basically. So here's a do, Neil. So, just to raise your spirits. In many cases, you should ask for their phone number or social media. Hi, I'm Chris. Can I have your number? If you've decided that the person you met is a keeper, that's very weird, and someone you want to keep talking to in the future, go ahead and ask for this information. More likely than not, they'll be glad to give you their number or social media. And especially true for business environments, where it's a good idea to have your colleagues' contact info anyway. Do you have lots of people who you work with personal numbers? I don't mean people who have been friends with for years. I mean...
No. I mean, well, no, actually, I've, like my team.
Is that so they can call in sick?
They've got my mobile. I've got those. It's any phone calls I get, or text, I should say. But yeah, no, not loads. I mean, some and some. Yeah, it's kind of like because again, it's sort of like there's people you might go out for a drink with or whatever. So you might swap numbers and stuff, but you wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't do it as like a routine. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't bother me too much. My mobile number's up on the company intranet. So if you, really
there's also the fact that you maybe have your phone 5% of the month because you constantly lose it. Have you found it yet?
It's not. No, currently the number.
How are you losing? You live in a one-bedroom flat.
Yeah, well,
you managed to drop it outside the bubble.
Very, very disorganised.
Okay, so Neil, there you go. Do you feel like you are in much better shape now if you go to America?
Yeah, I feel like I could, really, really get myself over and not embarrass myself in ways that would have done. Because I would have just been sort of like hugging and kissing everyone and starting revealing intimate details.
Just put your arms around someone, start kissing them on the forehead and talking about your family.
Crying. Yeah.
Well,
that's probably going wrong. I mean, it seemed like such a gregarious brunch. I thought they'd be up for it.
Well, there's false gregarity, isn't there? Like, have a nice day and stuff. I don't know. Do they mean it? I don't know.
Who knows?
Who can say? Fascinating creatures, though. So, Neil, this week we are going to be looking at something which I have discovered, which is an advert which was briefly shown in Japan. And apparently it's cursed, and it's the curse of the Japanese Kleenex commercial.
That started promisingly, but that cursed Japanese video, I mean, I think I'm obviously going to jump straight
to the staple, isn't it? Was that Japanese or Korean? I think it's Korean, wasn't it? Or was it Japanese?
Oh, now
you're talking about language.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was Japanese, but not 100% sure on that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a Japanese. Yeah, I think it was a Japanese novelist.
Oh, okay.
The original story, and then turned it into a film. I'm pretty sure. Ringu, but and I was. Got that big creepy scene where, I have actually watched the video, but I must confess is that having watched The Ring, there is that frisson where it makes me wonder if somebody's going to come crawling.
Oh, really?
Not really, but actually, no. There is. There was a few years back. There was this YouTube video of a guy who actually, and he must be like, what a hilarious prankster! But he did a prank for his girlfriend. So like the Ring thing, he actually constructed like a whole puppetry thing of this thing came crawling out of the TV. He put the fucking thing on YouTube, and I imagine like she must have dumped him by now because basically she's off screaming her head off, as you would, because that would, even if like in your logical mind you kind of like that would terrify something suddenly come out of the TV. And then he sort of turns the lights on and goes over and sort of...
Unless you're super cool like that kid who's also in a YouTube video who's like in secondary school or high school in America, and I think it's Halloween, and someone goes, bah, and jumps out of a bin at him, and his instant reaction is he just knocks the person's spark out. Like, within a second, he just goes, bang! Like, as soon as someone jumps, he goes, bang! Knocks the person out. That guy's got both amazing reactions and like a proper... he could have been Glaswegian. He had that much of a fight response rather than flight.
Fair enough. The thing is, though, that's somebody jumping out behind a bin, do you know what I mean? Which takes no effort. Oh, right. But it takes no effort, really.
No, that would be scary. Oh, yeah.
But to actually hooking up like a fucking whole like mechanism to make something crawl out your TV. The amount of prep work.
I like the ones where they dress a dog up as a big spider and get it to run at people. That's always good fun. People shit themselves because they could just for a second, because all you can see is this 8-legged thing sprinting at you.
Yeah,
I'd be worried that someone would kill the dog. Personally, I wouldn't put a dog in, but
that would be a concern. Well, I'll tell you one of my favourite prank that somebody played on me down the level. I'll tell you what, I jumped. They launched a firework at me, and then thought it was funny when I ducked. And it's like,
yeah. When was this?
Do you think? I'm just going to go like, I'll just let it. Oh God, this was a good few years ago. We were walking down the level, probably 10 years ago, mate. But, before it had been sort of refurbed a bit, but basically it's just kids out on. It must have been around fireworks night, but they just thought it'd be a hilarious prank to launch fireworks at people. And it's like, oh, you were scared of fireworks. It's like, no, I ducked out of the way because you launched a fucking firework at me.
It's stupid. I mean, to be honest, I probably won't go back to Lewes fireworks display, which is like just, for anyone who doesn't know, Lewes is the county town of Sussex, and it's kind of about 10 miles north of Brighton where we live, and they have the biggest sort of fireworks display in Europe, I think, and it's really historical, and they have like different fireworks societies that march around the town with burning torches and stuff, and it's really kind of spectacular and kind of weirdy medieval kind of stuff because it's a medieval town. And so I went there with the ex, and we kind of had a wander around and stuff, like just because she hadn't been. But then by the time you get to about 11, things are starting to kind of fall apart a bit, and everyone's absolutely hammered, and kids are just chucking fireworks around the street, and it's not that much fun. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, this isn't very enjoyable. Because just piss people with gunpowder, it's not brilliant.
They haven't learnt the right lesson from Guy Fawkes there, have they? Considering how much they bang on about it all these years later. Because, that would have gone back to, presumably, what was that? James II?
But they always burn. So one thing they all have, all the different fireworks societies have a big bonfire in different parts of the town, and they burn effigies on there. And there's always like the Pope and stuff because that.
Well, that's the thing is, as a lapsed Catholic, I always find it slightly unsettling that they.
But they also burn like Trump and stuff like that.
No, I know they have an effigy every year. I mean, it is very anti-Catholic. Normally. And that is to be fair, those are the origins of the festival. It's because of the blowing up or the attempt to blow up the houses.
Guido Fawkes
by Guido Fawkes and his gang. Like I say, it's still in this day and age. It still feels.
It's just a bit of fun, though, isn't it? For people now, it's not like they don't actually want to. It's just a bit of fun,
obviously they're not. No, they're not actually seriously sort of advocating that kind of thing. Of course they're not. It's just part of the sort of historical society thing. So I'm not saying I find it offensive or anything. Just it's all still slightly, there's a slight era of that kind of thing. But having said that, I think, not so much in the main one, but there are. So that's the kind of like one that they do in Lewes.
They had them all over. I mean, they had it in. They had one. They had one in
Seaford. They have tiny little societies all over the. In Seaford as well, did they? But there was in other parts of Lewes. I'm getting out in the more rural areas as well. Somebody saying, I can't remember where it was. But
that's an actual village, people.
Lord knows. Yeah. You've got loads of silly names things. Someone I used to work with, he went along to one of the kind of like really kind of obscure little societies, and I can't remember. But they got in trouble a few years back. What they decided to put as their sort of bonfire for that night was a gypsy caravan, which not so great,
Well, these kind of fireworks things, they're quite
correct.
They're quite
terrifying.
They're popular around the countryside in this part of the world, really, aren't they? They seem to be.
Yeah, it's just who they choose to burn in the effigies, and as you say, normally it'll be someone
who's been a bit of a shit the last year, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like they'll
Bin Laden, they did
on there or something like that. Yeah, exactly. So you can think, well, fair enough. It's just a bit of fun, but in some of the smaller villages, it's a bit more. It's a bit more Wicker Man, and it's kind of like it's a little bit more near
to the old bone.
Some of the effigies that they're choosing. To burn.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Old habits.
There you go. Yeah, no, I've never. It's one of those things where I live so close, but I've never actually gone to the Lewis.
We can go this year if you want.
One of those things because people come from all around.
We'll see how we go.
Yeah,
I had roasted chestnuts for the first time there. They're all right.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I don't know I've had
so the cursed Kleenex advert. So what I'll do, I mean, you can look this up. Anyone who wants to, it's everywhere. But I will describe. Dare you watch it? Well, we'll get into what might happen to you in a bit. I've watched it. At the moment, I'm okay, but I have got mental health professionals on speed dial. Not to do with this, just generally, but it's nice to know they're there. So it is a woman in sort of a white dress and a sort of baby. They're sitting on straw. With a Kleenex box between them. The baby is painted orange and has a cabbage, reddish orange, with a cabbage leaf on the top of its head, with a horn sticking out the top of that for whatever reason. And the woman pulls out tissues and then they kind of look at them. And then that's the advert, really. And it's got this in the background. It's got a song, and so I will jump into some explanation here from StrangerDimensions.com. So the legend of the cursed Japanese Kleenex commercial dates back to 1986, when an unusual but rather innocuous ad for Kleenex tissues appeared on Japanese television. There is something indeed unsettling about it. A woman sits on a pile of straw next to a child who is made up to look like some kind of ogre or demon. She grabs a single tissue out of the Kleenex box and releases it like a dove into the air, watching it fly away. All the time, another woman's voice sings a strange song. What's it all about?
Would this song be some sort of incantation to the devil, by any chance, Chris? Possibly in German, the most terrifying of languages.
So I'm going to jump to another thing so we can give a bit more on the song. So this song, which is in the background, here's what it was. So most people would have heard this before because originally it was a spoken word song and then it got turned into a dance track in the 90s. It's called It's a Fine Day, and it's one that goes, it's gonna be a fine day tonight, it's gonna be a fine day tomorrow. Da, 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 da. So that one.
Nice little haunting tune. Yeah, a bit like, what was it called, Joe's Diner? That was that a cappella song that they turned into a dance track in the early 90s.
So in Manchester, 1983, English poet and musician Edward Barton was inspired to write a poem after observing the city from his balcony. That's what this became. He chose to record the song a cappella, featuring a single vocal track from his girlfriend, June Lancaster. Released independently under the alias Jane, the song will soon be discovered by BBC DJ and tastemaster John Peel. After hearing Peel play It's a Fine Day on the radio, Ian McNay of Cherry Red Records obtains the right to the song. It reaches number 5 on the indie charts, becoming the highest ever chart placement for an unaccompanied poem in UK history. Tokyo, circa 1986. 34-year-old actress Kiko Matsuzuka has landed the commercial for Kleenex. The commercial will be one of 3 30-second spots for the new ad campaign rolling across Japan. The campaign is an attempt to cross-pollinate the Kleenex tissue brand with the wildly successful manga series Usai Yatsura. The commercial will lose the likeness of Sakura and 10 characters from Usai Yatsura in the hopes of appealing to a younger demographic. So these 2 characters in this advert are from a manga or an anime.
Well, that's interesting because when I watched it earlier, I didn't really have any of this context for what. Okay, so that because it's an odd advert. I mean, we'll come on to a minute. You know that this unfortunately the rumor has it that the baby died and the actress died. So we'll get into that in a minute. But the rumor, because it might turn out to be bullshit. But I mean, it's odd. I wouldn't say it's particularly haunting. I think it's really this ambient track that's kind of it. I mean, it's that kind of 80s indie kind of thing, and it's now. I mean, I'm trying to think.
Morrissey's quite spooky, isn't he? These days, came out the same thing.
Pretty fucking spooky these days. Yeah. Jeez, I never thought. Yeah, end up becoming a spokesman for fucking BNP. But there you go. No, what's the what's that singer? There's an American singer. She did something on the video game.
I know.
Oh God, I can't. Neil's failing memory. I don't know. I should look this up before. But
just
anyway,
embrace the one cloak of senility, Neil. You may as well.
yeah, I'm getting that way. I can't remember. Lana
Del Rey.
Lana Del Rey.
Yes, she exists.
Lana Del Rey, is that? Yes. Okay. It reminded. So it's that kind of breathy, or Tangerine Dream, or something like that. That kind of breathy female vocal.
But they do that. It really annoys you when they do that in adverts a lot. They take like a fucking David Bowie song or a punk song, and then have like a breathy female acoustic version of it, and it's really annoying. They do that a lot with adverts, don't they?
Yeah, well, I think it's meant to be sort of like. So I think that kind of like is where people are getting the spookiness, because the baby is sort of like painted red and has a cabbage patch on his head, but
we're going to find out now.
Reason. Because manga. Yeah, but I don't know. It doesn't. It
doesn't me neither.
Particularly disturbing.
But then I mean, these are what the characters are. So in a flowing white dress, Suzaka will take on the appearance of Sakura. Opposite Matsusaka, a child actor will play Ten, an Oni, which is a mythical creature from Japanese folklore. And so they're like ghost Onis, who has orange skin, green hair, and a horn protruding from his head.
And why do ghosts need tissues, can I ask? Is it for the ectoplasm?
Yeah, same reason as everyone else.
Yeah.
Lonely nights in a haunted house. Yeah.
It's called Oni.
So, when the commercial debuted, Japanese television stations and Kleenex corporate offices were bombarded by phone calls from viewers complaining of nausea and dizziness. It was widely reported that young children were having severe night terrors after seeing the ads. Cases of suicides and psychotic states became rampant throughout Tokyo. Hey, N.A.
You reckon this is some sort of...
It's better to be talked about than not talked about. Any press is good press.
Exactly. Well, that's just,
So, this is like a really weird explanation, right? So, many native Japanese speakers mistook the English lyrics to "It's a Fine Day" as German, which kind of makes it feel like they speak German, or I don't know, or maybe, it kind of doesn't add up, this bit. Confusing it with an old Eastern European folk song. So they thought it was an old Eastern European folk song in German. That's what they thought. They didn't think it was new wave, new romantic poetry. When translated to Japanese, the mistaken German lyrics were, die, everyone is cursed and will be killed. Beautiful language, though, isn't it? I die. Yeah.
I was just thinking, B. It sounds to me, this is a bit like, this has got, I mean, again, it's sort of like how much verifiable, but it feels a bit like the whole kind of like things around, these this thing where if you play records backwards, like heavy metal records backwards, you get
what I'm kind of gleaning from this, the only way that this story adds up is when the song was played, then they mistook the English for German, and they literally translated, so you would get the translation at the bottom of the screen. They translated it as German to Japanese, and in German it means die, everything is cursed will be killed. I think that's the only way that could work.
Hell of a coincidence. Hell of a coincidence. Yeah, I don't buy it, to be honest with you. I want to know as well, like, if I imagine like the Mad Men pitch meeting where they're sort of selling this advert,
it makes sense because obviously,
I mean, you've now demystified it
stuff is huge in Japan. So if they were trying to get, if these are big characters in anime, then it would be like, we have adverts. Like bizarrely, like this is fucking bizarre to me that we have adverts advertising Sky with like minions in it. Like, do they think that children pay the fucking Sky bill? It's fucking like, what is going on? Like, are people so have got such arrested development now that they think things like minions are brilliant even when they're fucking 30 years old or whatever? Like, I don't know what's going on. Society's crumbling, Neil, all around us. It has angered me, like kids stuff, advertising stuff that costs. I know, like if it was kids' toys, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? But or things like the minions. So
the betting stuff with minions. That's when you'll know it's been turned. Instead of Ray Winston or whatever going, I like
put a bit of scratch on the
fucking game's good, isn't it? But yeah. Mind you, don't want to put all of it on.
Don't put all your money on. You need some money for the boozer where you can watch the races coming.
So, when they start advertising those with minions, then I'll get worried. But the thing for me is that the tissues need to be hip. Do they need the youth vote? Do you know what I mean? Because it's pretty much just
I just use toilet paper now. I just use toilet paper. I think tissues are unnecessary, full stop.
But do you know what I mean? Well, fair enough. But I don't know. It's not going to be like, oh wow, but these tissues are associated with the manga, so I'm definitely getting those.
There is a series of adverts on at the moment for Direct Line, which is an insurance company, and that has Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles on it, RoboCop on it, advertising insurance. Because, there's different types of insurance. So, like, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles come to help because someone's got a blocked toilet or something. I don't know. And they've already sorted it out.
They've already sorted out. But that's playing on nostalgia, I think. People are in their 30s and 40s. Their nostalgia for those kind of characters. Do you know what the weirdest one was? Do you remember when they were doing... did you ever see those adverts? It had, weirdly enough, Arnold Schwarzenegger's disembodied head rolling around on a tank, shouting at people about credit card fraud or something. I can't remember.
Do you know what? I think that was actually credit card or something. I think that was a government advert. Weirdly,
it was. Although, I think it might have been. It's just weird because I'm wondering how much I had to pay Arnold Schwarzenegger for that because it was just his likeness.
Or was it really his disembodied head? Could be. Yeah. If anyone could get away with it, it's the DWP.
Recently. I can't think of another good reason why we haven't had a Kindergarten Cop 2. Actually, I think they did have a Kindergarten Cop 2.
Back in the habits.
I think it was different. It was one of those ones that just... Or a Kindergarten Cop 3.
Right, I'll carry on
now. So you carry on. I'm gonna look for Kindergarten Cop 2.
Although it was the comedian Sinbad. Although it was only aired a handful of times commercially. The commercial had enough of an adverse response that it got immediately pulled. The 30-second advertisement will become part of a multicultural game of telephone, which I don't know what that is. Game of telephone, so would that be Chinese whispers?
That's what, I think it's the... That's not considered a politically correct term anymore, I don't think. So, telephone is what they call it. Yes, it's the thing.
Resulting in a wide-held belief that the commercial was cursed. Rumours began to spread of cast members who had been driven mad. It was believed that Matsuzaka gave birth to a deformed child, much like the Oni in the commercial, leading to her hospitalisation in a mental institution. Crew members were said to have suffered violent and untimely deaths, including a camera operator who died after being locked in a sauna. Oh. As the years passed, the mythos surrounding the commercial would expand to the fatalistic stratosphere of folklore. Viewing the commercial became a form of Russian roulette. If you're able to get your hands on a bootleg VHS copy, you ran the risk of being cursed too. Oh no, Neil, I've watched it! Am I cursed now?
Yep. We're both cursed now. Well, I bet there's going to be another
multitude of reasons. Some claimed that if your copy showed the only child as having blue skin instead of orange, death was right round the corner.
That'd be great though. If something suddenly something freaky did happen.
Others claimed that if Lancaster's soft voice changed to the raspy gargle of an old hag, it's going to be a good night tonight. It was only a matter of days before you were driven to the brink of insanity or insania. Neil, little plug there for you. Insania hits. As the tales grew taller throughout the 90s, the public's desire to find the lost cursed Kleenex commercial increased. Fast forward to 2006, after being out of circulation for 20 years, the commercial resurfaces on a new video platform called YouTube. It appeared at the time when the concept of death by found footage is rampant in pop culture, birthing horror films such as The Ring, and Fear.com, which I've never heard of. The cursed Kleenex commercial quickly amassed over 1 million viewers, all of who are dead now, of course, introducing itself to a new generation.
Yeah.
The word-of-mouth legends around... You see, this is a problem, isn't it? As soon as the internet comes along, all of these legends just die on the fucking vine. The word-of-mouth legends surrounding the commercial become forum board threads, spawning speculative posts from bloggers believing that the footage contains a demonic subliminal message. It's rumoured on torrent sites that if you watch it after midnight, in which part of the world, unexplained power outages will occur. Others claim that the music and editing will change after repeated viewings, a sure sign that the viewer's days are numbered. What?
Well, there's video evidence of that on YouTube as well, Chris. So I saw a clip where it shows somebody watching it at 1 minute to midnight. All looks normal. Yeah, then...
Really?
Well, no, the video changed. Yeah, the voice suddenly became kind of like, all gargly. Yeah, exactly. It started having all of these kind of artifacts creeping in, the screen went black, and then a pair of eyes appeared. In no way, shape or form could that possibly have been edited by the person taking the video.
Well, there you go. Spooky stuff.
Yeah. Again, there's evidence out there for you on YouTube. It's up to you.
Without any context...
your own research. The mantra of our times.
So without any context to the anime-inspired visuals and the a cappella song, it's understandable how the commercial could be perceived as supernatural. Not supernatural, just weird. And I kind of expect weird things that are weird to me out of Japan, because we have very different cultures.
Well, yeah, it's a different culture, but to be honest with you, it's not even really that weird. It's just, it's a lady in a white dress singing. I mean, the kid looks slightly strange, and they've painted him up and put...
It's nothing that you wouldn't see if you watched enough Vic and Bob.
Really,
do you know what I mean?
Well, you compare that to like the tango advert,
which I had to ban because the kids were slapping
each
other.
I mean? That's far weirder. Yeah. So for those who don't know, there was so tango is an awful orange.
It's not orangina, but
you drink it.
But not enough rat in it.
Yeah. It's a fairly let me put it another way. It's a fairly artificially orangely flavoured drink. It doesn't taste very much of orange, but it's that sort of artificial orange flavour, sort of fizzy drink. And they had a whole series of adverts.
No, it was early.
I think it was early 90s,
I remember doing...
Wasn't 80s?
No, it was earlier than that.
Might
because I remember, when you've been tangoed with the slaps. And I remember... what school I did that in. So I was in year 4 when I was doing it.
It might have been...
I was about
anyway,
7.
Very early 90s, I think.
So that would be 89, 90. Yeah.
Okay, on the cusp. Fairly certain we can look it up later on. But basically a big lad.
In a sumo.
Just come up in slow motion.
In sumo pants.
And, and slap someone around the chops. The idea was this is the sensation of tasting
tango kick.
Tango. But then the kids saw that and thought, brilliant, let's do that.
Yeah, so as kids, what you do is run around the playground and slap person, sort of. So the slap they were doing was like you're clapping, but with someone's face in between your hands. And so you'd run around doing that and go, hey, you know, and you'd be tangos, run off. And then the government had to ban the advert. And they had someone with a big wobbles their hand in someone's face instead. Which was less. Oh, yeah. Which was less violent.
Fun, and everyone stopped buying Tango. But the reason I thought it was midnight as well, I'm fairly certain that chat was in an episode of that Chris Evans talk show he had.
TFI Friday.
Yeah, that's it. TFI Friday.
Could have been, but I mean,
but that may have been years later.
It probably was.
Yeah.
So.
Well, but there goes. That just goes to show you how a slightly freaky commercial sticks in the memory, because we're both talking about a probably 30-year-old soft drink commercial that we can remember very vividly.
Indeed.
So I don't think this is, effectively what you've done here is sort of like painted a baby like the Tango Man and put a leaf on its head and then had a woman sing to him. So I don't think it's that out.
That's just normal. So those unaware of the 10 characters, Usei Yatsura assumed that the horned child to be a demon baby, and those unfamiliar with Barton's songwriting thought It's a Fine Day was derived from an ancient hymn used to summon evil spirits. It could have been.
I mean, they've got acting imaginations, haven't they? So you've assumed, because you weren't familiar with it.
I'm going to have to assume. I've not seen this cartoon.
Now, either they've put makeup on that child and put a costume on it, or it's a demonic baby. Well, yeah. I know which one. I know which one.
I know that these advertising executives are running riot and out of control, and I wouldn't put it past them to summon a demon baby to sell tissues. That's what they were thinking.
Which is an experiment that went wrong.
Maybe military experiment.
Because they can't have been the first sort of
weird military
people
experiment
to try and trade with the devil.
Weird military experiment.
Yeah,
demon babies, tissues.
Do you reckon that's what it was? It was like a Manchurian candidate thing, and it didn't quite, or whatever it was.
Operation Shoelace.
You get this, don't you? Where some bit of pop culture triggers some like assassin or something like that.
Yeah, could be.
It's a bit of a trope, isn't it, that you get in some of these things?
Could be.
Working on that,
but even with the proper context, there's still something deeply unsettling about the footage. It plays more like a visual pulled from a dream state than a commercial for a major brand. I mean, to be honest,
absolute bollocks. Go and watch a David Lynch movie and then come back to me.
Yeah, seriously. And also the fact that...
Go and watch a Razorhead and then talk to me about fucking...
The fact that they said, right, these two are characters from a manga thing, I just went, all right, fine.
Yeah, well, as soon as you said that, because that was the one thing that was slightly weird. Why have they painted up that baby and put a thing on it? Said, "Oh, well, they're from manga." But honestly, the woman you wouldn't even pass comment on. She's just in a white dress, so fine if that's what the manga looks like, but she doesn't look out of the ordinary at all. The tissue flying up in the air, but whatever. I mean, it's just a tissue in the air, and the baby looks a bit.
They made a whole trope of that on American Beauty. Like a paper, a bag. Just
that was deep and meaningful, Chris.
Oh, right.
Man, I bet that movie doesn't stand up to the.
Oh God! So the combination of the sight and sounds.
I liked it when I saw it in the cinema back in 2000 or whatever it was, but
I've seen it and I didn't really get on with it. But there we go. So the combination of sight and sound create an unnerving atmosphere. There is intangible sense of it's something wrong here. Again, I didn't find that, to be honest, but I'm dead inside. Most of the rumours surrounding the production has since been debunked, but the pure oddity of the commercial continues to fascinate and haunt viewers. Why is it so inherently disturbing? Spooky tales aside, perhaps a combination of a song inspired by the peacefulness of Manchester and a commercial inspired by a successful Tokyo manga, a merger of two pieces of media from completely different cultures, are tonally out of sync with one another, which is what gives it a cryptic resonance. The commercial is forever lost in translation, caught in a strange purgatory that is out of time and out of place. Or perhaps the tales are true. Perhaps the commercial is cursed, containing subconscious symbolism and subliminal messages that serve as the catalyst to nightmares, madness, and death. I'll let you be the judge. Watch the commercial if you dare. And that's where it ends.
Well, there you go. He's certainly put the case for both on the table, hasn't he? Or haven't they? So, I mean, I like. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of rumours around, like the baby died and or went mad. There's rumours the actress died, but you can debunk that because she's still actually. I think she's got a perfectly good career going on. She's still starring in things. So all of that's sort of been debunked, and the rubbish about the cameraman dying or going mad or whatever it is as well. So
he died in a sauna.
Oh yeah, dying in a sauna. That reminds me of like a death in one of those Hitman games, which is quite cool. You can clap someone in a sauna and then they're fun. Yeah, so again, it's the classic. Let's embellish. There's not even anything to hang your hat on here because look, what he's trying to claim there is. Oh, sorry, I don't know what I keep saying here. I don't. So what they I don't know whether he or she wrote the article, but anyway, what they're trying to claim there is that you've got this really sort of spooky advert, and also there's maybe been a load of deaths and stuff involved as well. Well, once you strip out all of the people dying, or the horrific sort of like coincidental deaths and things like that. There's nothing left.
It's just a weird advert that basically.
It's not even that weird though. It's just a baby that's got some makeup on.
This was written by Eric Heher, Heher, on aquariumdrunkards.com.
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, remember that name again?
Eric Heher, Heher. Just thought I'd give him his credit there.
Well, no, absolutely, no, it was well written actually. But also, I'll just interject here to point out that yes, there was a Kindergarten Cop too. I'm going to ask you, Chris, when do you think it happened? What year do you think it came out? And who was the star?
The
original would have been what, 92, 93, something like that.
Was it 2005? Am I higher or lower?
I mean, you're not doing too bad.
2007?
You're a bit low.
2008?
2016.
Oh, Jesus. And who was the star? Was it an Arnie-like character, or...?
Yes, I'll give you a clue.
Oh.
I think 80s. 80s guy. Yes.
Yeah!
Dolph Lundgren, yeah. I was going to give you a bit more of a clue there.
Didn't need it. Fantastic. That sounds great.
I don't know. I think I might need to give that. If that's a Netflix, it's a Netflix watch for me, I think. Oh, well, for 10 minutes, and then I get bored. This wasn't a good idea after.
What I'd say about this advert is it makes... I can see why it got pulled. But, I mean, it makes perfect sense. If these were characters off a manga, but I can see why the sort of vocals and stuff in a different language could seem a bit spooky.
With the cultural crossover, because if you actually watch the video, like if you go back and play the track, it's not like haunting at all. It's just again like Tangerine Dream or Lana Del Rey or something. It's that kind of breathy female vocal, and the vocals. It's in minor key, and it's a little bit sort of whimsical, or not whimsical.
Well, it's a bit
wistful. Kind of like
it kind of. It sounds a bit
longing.
That kind of thing.
It's going to be a nice day. We'll go and sniff the grass. And
but that kind of chord structure is using the dark chords, I would say.
Yeah, well, it's the minor key. It's in minor key, so you could sort of and it's that whole thing. Like,
which is unsettling. The minor keys, they are unsettling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so, but
scare the hell out of me now. Majors only, thanks.
A bit of light and shade. So I can, like you. It's got a bit of that kind of almost Adult Swim kind of weird thing you'd watch at 2:00 in the morning and think it was a bit odd. So I could see, if you're coming from sort of like a Japanese context, that song you wouldn't necessarily know about that style of singing, and the kind of like you would mistranslate the lyrics.
I just think they went. This advert's not very good.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one thing I don't think they would have sold many. I mean, it got pulled from the air not because it was killing people. I think it was because it was a bit of a weird advert, and I don't see how
it's very. It's high conception advert. It's a high conception advert, and that doesn't really work with adverts.
Yeah, well, it's just like a bit of a mistake, and it's like, just base it on. I mean, that must be some boring fucking manga if it's just like, or whatever. It's just like some little demon kid while a woman sings to him and pulls out some cloth.
Yeah, but I think they're just too. Let's have a look at Urusei Yatsura.
It would be good, wouldn't it, if that actually literally is what the manga is? Tissue-based
Kleenex Warriors.
Lady in white dress and Demon Baby.
Japanese manga series.
Because that's what all of the Western cartoons were in the 80s after Ronald Reagan let them put adverts and everything. They were just fucking toy commercials, weren't they?
Oh, well, yeah, He-Man and stuff. It was made by Haribo or Mattel or whatever.
Yeah, or Kenner Toys or whatever, yeah.
So, the plot of Urusei Yatsura, an alien race known as the Oni, arrived to Earth to invade the planet. Instead of taking over the planet by force, the Oni give humans a chance to fight for the right to the planet by taking part in a competition. Oh, that's nice. Like the Predators.
Wonderful. Yeah.
The competition is a variant of the game of tag, or it, as I know it, or the game of the Oni in Japanese, in which a human player must touch the horn on the head of the Oni player within 1 week. The computer-selected human player is Ataru Moroboshi, a lecherous, unlucky, and academically unsuccessful high school student from a fictional Tombiki town in Narima.
He sounds like he could become the hero.
And the Oni player is Princess Lum, daughter of the leader of the alien invaders. Despite his initial reluctance to take place in a competition, Ataru becomes interested in the game when he meets Lum. I see. When the competition begins, Lum surprises everyone by flying away, and Atsu finds himself unable to capture Ataru, sorry. Before the last day of the competition, Ataru's girlfriend, Shinobu Miyaki, encourages Aturo by pledging to marry him if he wins. We get to keep Earth and I'll get my leg over. Fantastic. On the final day of the competition, Ataru wins the game by stealing Lum's bikini top, which prevents her from protecting her horns in favour of protecting her modesty. In celebration of his victory, Aturo expresses his joy at now being able to get married. However, Lum misinterprets this as a proposal from Aturo and accepts on live television. Despite the misunderstanding, Lum falls in love with Aturo and moves into his house.
Right, few questions.
No questions. Despite Ataru's lack of interest in Lum and attempts to rekindle the relationship with Shinobu, Lum frequently interferes and Shinobu loses interest in Aturo. Still, Aturo's flirtatious nature persists despite Lum's attentions. Lum attempts to stop him from flirting, which results in Aturo receiving a powerful electric shock attacks from Lum as punishment. Two characteristics of Ataru are particularly strong. His pervertedness and his bad luck that draws him to all the weirdness of the planet, the spirit world, and even the galaxy. Later, Lum begins attending the same school as Aturo, despite his objections. Lum develops a fan base of admirers amongst the boys of the school, including Shutaro Mendo, the rich and handsome heir to a large corporation that all the girls from Tombiki have a crush on. Despite a romantic interest, none of Lum's admirers will risk upsetting Lum by trying to force her and Aturo apart, although this does not stop them from trying to get Aturo punished due to his bad behaviour and interfering every time they get close to him.
So all of that saving the world was just a setup for like a fucking shitty hijinks comedy.
Well, I mean, the original run of these comics, and so there's 34 volumes, and it was between 1978 and 1987.
That story went on for 10 years. Yeah.
And it had a TV series of it was on from 81 to 86, 195 episodes.
Oh yeah, I can't commit to that.
No, it's a shame, isn't it?
If it was a 6-part on Netflix, I'd give it a go. I mean, I reckon it's somebody who works at the advertising agency. That was their last fucking day on the job, and they're just like,
what can I get the rights for really, really cheap and siphon off the rest to myself? Basically, right? There's this weird song in the UK. She's just some woman singing, Apparently, we can get the rights to play that in Japan for 500 quid.
That's not costing you much, is it? Let's be honest.
We can get that for 500
on the John
quid.
Peel show, and it's been on an indie record thing. But yeah, they're going to give you the rights to that. For
What's popular? Well, this manga comic is reasonably popular, but they've quoted us quite a lot to use the main characters. So what I've done is
there's a baby that's in one panel.
There's a baby that's in one panel. And there's some woman in the background, and they'll let us use both them for 500 quid as well. So,
put them both together.
And how much are Kleenex paying us? 2 million. Lovely, nice one.
I mean, yeah. Again, I wouldn't want to be sitting in that pitch meeting. Have a Kleenex rep.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'd love to be sitting in that pitch meeting if this shit got through. Because I mean, imagine
you got through. You're just trying to explain it to somebody. Do you know what I mean?
Well, if they're willing
to... manga's big, yeah?
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't. Well, that's the thing. The Kleenex, I have to assume that the Kleenex people were Western and had no idea, and the people were just going, yeah, no, this will play really well in Japan.
Seriously, these are going like fucking hotcakes.
Yeah, this is exactly it. This is the shit. Right.
Yeah. This is our first tentative steps into the Japanese market, so we'll be guided by you. That's what we're
I haven't had time to watch any Japanese adverts myself. Yeah. But yeah,
and so we'd like to sort of have a look at the source material. So, how 10 years worth? Okay, we won't be doing that then. Maybe they turned it into a cartoon or something.
10 years, 195 episodes.
195, right?
So okay, I mean, it seems really popular then. So this must be a real coup.
Your word for it. Yep, fair enough. Let's get it out there. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, perfect.
It's not.
Apparently, kids are having night terrors. It's making the whole of Tokyo nauseous. I should have done a due diligence.
They're not going to forget.
Okay, so shall we go through our system?
You see how this scores with our system.
For this system, I've got here a pack of. I've got a deck of anime playing cards.
Yes, I thought it would.
And I'm going to shuffle them, and I'm going to go with the numbers. The number of tentacles touching a woman in it. So from 1 to 10.
Anything from 1 to 50.
Anything. There's not going to be many. There's not going to be any zeros, and anything over 10, which is 50% of the deck, we'll just have to have as 10. Okay, so Neil, spookiness, you go first.
Right. I mean, there's two ways you can look at this. There's the whole kind of like idea of a haunted video.
Yeah.
Because I'll confess, like having watched The Ring, I slightly hesitated before watching this on YouTube, and I know. No, I mean,
you want some gravy with that chicken?
I mean, for like half a second, but no.
Whatever.
The thing in your head that kind of like, oh yeah, you know, kind of like you want to dare on those kind of things, but obviously it's going to be false. But anyway, so that kind of, but that's really a kind of a more of a thing that's come out from material elsewhere. So the idea of a haunted video, I think, is quite spooky. But this is, I mean, no, it's just there's nothing inherently weird about the video. It's not trippy. It's not weird. It's not like dream imagery. It's just a baby in makeup and a woman singing to him. It's if I saw that on TV, I wouldn't even blink a fucking eyelid at it. So. And then there's the other side of it. So there's a trippiness of the video itself, supposedly, and then there's all the associated stories about people dying because they were involved with making it or having kind of seen it afterwards. But as you say, given it's all been up on YouTube, it's been, you know, thoroughly debunked. So nothing particularly scary there either, and all easily disprovable. So yeah, it's going to be a 1 for me.
Nothing
1? Just not feeling it.
So I'm going to go higher because the advert, you know, I don't find it particularly spooky, but it's more than a 1 spooky because adverts just in general are more than 1 spooky because they're trying to manipulate your brain. I also think that if it was in a foreign language and the song's in a foreign language and it's playing the minor chords or the dark chords, then I think that would be quite I mean, if you're just sitting there watching your normal Japanese
advert, Chris.
If you're sitting there watching your normal Japanese advert and that comes on with no explanation, I think it probably would be quite spooky. I like all the. I mean, it's not. There's all. I mean, there's quite a rich theme of haunted or ghosts in videos or films or cursed productions. Cursed productions, of course, being anything that Terry Gilliam touches.
Eventually got out that Don Quixote movie, now I believe.
900 billion over budget. So I think that it has got some spookiness. It's not terrifying, but it's got more than some. So I'm going to give it a 4 for spookiness. So believability, I'll go first. So the advert exists. That can't be disputed. I've seen it. So that's true. The haunting and stuff around it, or it being a demon baby, probably not. But it could be. It could be a demon dressed up as a character from here to trick us. So, maybe. I think in general. I'm just gonna go for a 4 because the advert does exist. I'm not going to go into it any further because this is the amount of tentacles that are on here and the cards are distracting me.
What? You've just seen a couple of those 10s, haven't you?
That's true. Yeah.
Pocketing them away for later. So again, believability, depending on what we're being asked to believe. So yes, the advert does exist, but I think the urban legend part of it is the fact that this is a haunted video, so if this were, so do I believe the thing is haunted? No. Do I believe that a bunch of people died after it? No. Yes, the video exists, but it's just a fairly innocuous video. Well, for me anyway, it's a fairly innocuous video. So just because there is actually a video out there, I'll give it a 2. But I don't believe any of the associated legends.
Okay, no. So Reach, you can go first on this one.
Reach, unsurprisingly, again, it's another one I hadn't heard of before. Although it seems like it's become a bit of a meme on the internet. So, and I can imagine people having a bit of fun with this. And obviously, what you can do then is you can play around with it. So I've seen a video where somebody actually shows themselves watching it after midnight, and the video actually does distort and starts. So is it real? Who knows? Again, I think I've demonstrated how much I believe. So it's probably getting a bit of reach out there. So obviously, it'll be presumably it was known around in sort of Japan or whatever. I mean, how much you would really have remembered an old Kleenex advert? It must have been freaky, I guess, for people for them to remember it for that long. I don't think it's going to have huge reach because it's really just feels like more of a kind of like a bit of a jokey one, and I think it's kind of a lot of it is probably piggybacking off the back of things like Ringu and those kind of. I do find those ideas around modern technology being wanted and stuff like that is quite a sort of theme that you get in Korean and Japanese horror movies, but that's that culture and this anyway. It's about believability, isn't it? So
it's Reach.
Oh, sorry, Reach. No, sorry, Reach on this one. Because there's a fair bit of material and stuff, like having a bit of fun with it. I'll probably give it a 5.
5, okay. So Reach, I mean, what I like about it is it's an advert from 86, and then it was sort of. I think it's one of those things where an advert comes on and it's a weird advert and it gets pulled really quickly and then people just build up a story around it. Right, yeah. That's fun. But the story kind of continued. And then the advert, someone actually got hold of it and put it on YouTube. And then it kind of sparks a whole new thing. So I think that's quite good. And it's got lots of views on YouTube. So people obviously know about it. So the reach is bigger now than probably it was originally in Japan, sort of globally. And for it to be known in Japan, you've got a lot of people in Japan. Got 120 million people or something like that. So, I mean, there doesn't seem to be any films or anything off the back of it or TV series. But again, this one isn't like a complete internet one because it was there already and it's been reinvigorated by the internet. So I think I'll go with you, and I'm going to give it a 5 on Reach.
I think if it wasn't for the internet, it probably would be less well known.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So narrative premise. So, yeah, I mean, it's all right. It's all right. Haunted, or cursed advert. That's quite new to me. That's an original premise. I like the fact it's attached to a big brand because that's just funny to me because, big brands are generally horrible. I like the story that somehow someone thought they were meant to be translating German rather than English, and the translation from German to Japanese was die, everyone is cursed or something like that. rather than
on the nose.
Rather than it's going to be a nice day, I'm going to have a salad or whatever. That it actually was in English. So that's quite, it's quite a funny premise. It's quite, the narrative of then all the horrible stuff and the woman giving birth to an actual Oni. Do you know what? Like, it's all right. It's quite fun. I like the whole linguistic balls up, mix up part of it. So I'm going to go for a 5 for that. Neil?
Yeah, so there's not a lot here for me. But yeah, there are some fun sort of aspects. So, I mean, the one thing I will say, I do like the... I had heard of that as a sort of dance track, that tune, but was that Orb 3 or something? That wasn't the Orb. It was some dance act in the early 90s. But I'd never heard the a cappella version. It's quite a fun little tune, so worth looking up on YouTube. What was it called? Brad and... We can stick it in there.
Don't know. Listen back if you want to know.
Yeah. Anyway, so I like the tune. That's my big takeaway from it. Narrative in terms of that, again, that kind of. I mean, I guess if this was like the first of the sort of haunted or cursed kind of advert things, so it very much reminds me of The Ring. But I guess given that it come back to the 80s, if this was an origin of some of those things, and that's quite the concept of like a cursed videotape or something like that, or a cursed advert is actually quite a good narrative for me. Mm-hmm. That's why they've made about 4 of those Ring films. So that's quite cool. The rest of it, though, there's not really that much more to sort of, people dying on set and all this sort of thing. Well, giving birth to an Oni is quite a good one. That's quite an interesting part of the tale. I mean, but people going mad and dying and stuff is just, seen that before. Yeah, exactly. Although, I think I'm gonna just assume that it was quite an original part of the sort of the cursed advert thing, or the cursed videotape was was less common at the time. So I think that's quite a cool little twist to sort of the hauntings and stuff, those kind of sort of tales. So I'm gonna then bump it to a 5 for this.
5 as well. Lovely. So just to let you know, the song it's called It's a Fine Day, and it was released under the alias just Jane.
Okay.
So that gives it a total score of 31 out of possible 80 legend points. Not too bad. Let us know if you have any of your own theories or have any heard of any of these haunted videos. You can email us at urb.legends.pod@gmail.com. But beyond that, what I would say is if you're watching a Dadaist advert with a baby made up to look like a cabbage / horned alien, try not to get nausea and have night terrors.
Indeed.
And that's it from this episode of Urban Legends. We will see you same spooky time, same spooky place next week.
We might.
Oh, yeah.
If our corpses aren't found.
Yeah, terrified. Yeah, could happen. If we manage to survive having watched the video, then we will be back. If not, help yourself to my stuff if you know where I live, because I don't need it. Goodbye!
Bye.